यस सर यू आर ऑडिबल। अगर मेरी आवाज़ आ रही है तो आप एक बार कमेंट सेक्शन में लिख दो यस सर यू आर ऑडिबल, so that we could start our class. So I hope you all are aware that today we are going to discuss a very important topic, and that is union budget. Okay, yes, good evening everyone, good evening. So आज हम लोग बहुत ही important topic discuss करने वाले हैं, and that is union budget. So please clarify it. You should be crystal clear that we are talking about budget is all about whatever the expenditure or the taxes the government is going to collect, or whatever the government is going to start a new scheme in the next fiscal year. So if you see it carefully, we are talking about the next fiscal year or the upcoming fiscal year, that is 2022 or 2023. So आने वाले साल का क्या खर्चा होगा, क्या एक्सपेंडिचर होगा, इससे रिलेटेड चीज़ों को बजट कहते हैं, आने वाले साल का. इट्स नॉट अबाउट द पास्ट. ओके, यस. But before moving on, yes, people are writing, yes sir, you're audible. Let's talk about the Constitution of India. If you talk about Constitution of India, it does not talk about budget, but it use the word annual financial statement. So अगर आप budget अगर आप Constitution of India देखोगे, it has not used the word budget, it has used the word annual financial statement in Article 112 of Indian Constitution. So every year budget is being prepared by Ministry of Finance. Yes, so just remember the ministry, and every year the finance minister Nirmala Sitharaman, so right now this year the finance minister was Nirmala Sitharaman, and she presented the budget on 1st February. Yes, okay. Now let's talk in this video, in this class we will be discussing in detail about the important aspects which we are discussed in this year's budget. आज के इस वीडियो में हम लोग बजट के इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट्स को डिस्कस करेंगे. सो लेट्स स्टार्ट विद दिस. द फर्स्ट इज द फोकस इज ऑन ग्रोथ एंड ऑल इंक्लूसिव वेलफेयर. सो द वर्ड इंक्लूसिव मीन्स व्हाट वी कॉल इट इन हिंदी इज टू कवर ईच एंड एवरी वन, या सबका साथ सबका विकास. इंक्लूसिव मीन्स covering poor, rich, etc. everyone. The second it talks about is promoting technology enabled development. Means in this budget technology is being talked about, and I'll be discussing, यानी टेक्नोलॉजी की इस बजट में काफ़ी बात की गई है, और हम लोग इस क्लास में जानेंगे भी कि किस तरह बात की गई. ओके, यस. नाउ लेट्स टॉक अबाउट यस वर्चुअस साइकिल ऑफ प्राइवेट इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड public capital investment. So in this video we'll be discussing about the public investment or the government investment also. Okay, and these are the 4 priorities areas: PM Gati Shakti, inclusive development, productivity enhancement and investment, financing of investments. So these are the 4 priority areas. So let's start one by one. Okay, so let's start. Before that, let's talk about the performance of GDP. तो अगर आप देखोगे how the GDP performed, so this is how it is said that distorted W, you can say. It is like if you see the graph in the last 2 or 3 years, so the GDP performance was not exactly W, but it is distorted W. So in the first lockdown, since the first lockdown was more strict, the GDP went down. Very similar like GVA also, gross value added. And then they went up, and then in the second wave they also went down, but in the second wave the fall was not so steep as compared to first wave. So I hope you all are aware. Yes, so first wave में बहुत नीचे GDP गया था, second में थोड़ा नीचे गया था, right? And I hope you all are aware that this fiscal year the GDP growth will be somewhere around 9.2%, whereas in the fiscal year 2022-2023 it will be somewhere around 8 to 8.5%. And this has been discussed even in economic survey yesterday. Yes, so I think everyone is fine, and please everyone if watching, please press the like button. सबको like button press करते जाओ. Yes. Okay, now let's talk about COVID-19 vaccination coverage. This was discussed in the budget also, and in last yesterday economic survey also. So if you talk about first dose, so almost 93% people have got first dose. And if you talk about 2 dose, both the doses, यानी दोनों डोज की बात की जाए, so almost 70%, or you can say 69.8% have got both the doses of COVID vaccination, and we are talking about January 2022. बहुत डिटेल नहीं जाना है, no need to go much in detail, just have a overall idea about it. Yes, okay. Let's talk further. Let's talk about trends in deficits. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है और समझने में भी लोगों को दिक्कत होता है. सो लेट्स टॉक अबाउट इट. सो लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल द फिस्कल डेफिसिट विल बी समवेयर अराउंड 6.4% एंड प्राइमरी डेफिसिट विल बी समवेयर अराउंड 2.8%. So now this is important slightly. What is fiscal deficit? So I'll tell you in short what exactly it is. ठीक है. So देखो fiscal deficit क्या होता है. I'll explain in a very simple terms. For example, you do not have any rupee. आपके पास कोई पैसा नहीं है. But in this year you have your expenditure is rupees 120 and your income is 100 rupee. How can this be possible that beforehand you had 0 rupees? And in the entire fiscal year you had expended around somewhere around 120 rupees, but you had only 100 rupees income. It means you must have taken rupees 20 as a loan from your friend. अपने 2 से 20 रुपया लिए होगे तभी ना उसको एडजस्ट किए होगे. आपके साल भर में 120 रुपया खर्चा हुआ और आपने 100 ही रुपया पिछले साल कमाया था, तो कहाँ से 20 रुपया लाए होगे? अपने कर्ज लिया होगा. So this rupees 20 loan is nothing but fiscal deficit, right? So this will be since we are talking about 100 rupees, the fiscal deficit will be 20%, right? So basically that is the idea of fiscal deficit. Now so this is 6.4% of GDP of India, right? This is what is being talked about is the fiscal deficit this year. This is talking about is the 2022-2023 means in the completing fiscal year, in the next year, by next year 31st March, this will be most likely the figure. So that is called as fiscal deficit. Okay, is it clear? So if it's clear, just write in the comment section yes sir it is clear, so that हमको भी अच्छा लगे and we can move forward. Okay. Now let's talk about the inflation. Whenever we use the word inflation, it generally means महंगाई or general rise in prices of goods and services. So generally there are 2 types of inflation. One is called as consumer price index, another is called as wholesale price index. So wholesale price index talks about wholesale inflation, wholesale में महंगाई, and consumer price index talks about retail inflation, right? And we have said that it should be within the 2 to 6% band. And अगर आप 2 से 6% की बात करोगे तो 2% यहाँ पे होगा somewhere, 6% will be somewhere here. Okay, so this is the band of 2 to 6%. But if you see it carefully, the wholesale price index has crossed the limit. अगर आप गौर से देखोगे, the wholesale price index has crossed the limit. Okay. Yes. Okay. Now, so that is the area of concern that wholesale price index has crossed the 2 to 6% gap, especially if you see in the July, October session areas and all, right? Last year. Okay, now let's talk about foreign exchange reserve, or what we call it as forex. This is nothing but forex. So our forex is quite healthy, काफी अच्छा है foreign exchange reserve. So and you can see it is somewhere around 630. If you're talking about the 3rd quarter of last fiscal year, I mean the fiscal year in which we are right now. So you're talking about October, November, December 2021. So the performance was somewhere around $634 billion. Okay, US billion dollar we are talking about. So the foreign exchange reserve till last December 2021 was 634 billion US dollar. ठीक है, exact number नहीं याद रखना है, but just have an idea that we have somewhere around $600 billion forex reserve, which is at world level is the 4th ranking. This was even highlighted in yesterday's economic survey also. तो कल के इकोनॉमिक सर्वे में भी इस बात को हाईलाइट किया गया था कि वी हैव $600+ billion ऑफ फॉरेन एक्सचेंज रिजर्व. फॉरेन एक्सचेंज रिजर्व मतलब हुआ कि डॉलर्स, पाउंड्स, यूरो, दीज ऑल आर फॉरेन एक्सचेंज करेंसीज. ठीक है, यस. Okay, now let's talk something about the PM Gati Shakti Yojana. We'll be discussing further in detail. So first of all, it talks about drivers of 7 engine like roads, railways, airports, ports, mass, motorways, logistics, infrastructure. I'll be discussing it in the future slides. Then it talks about formulation of master plan for expressways. Means under PM Gati Shakti Yojana, in the end of 2020, 2022, 2023, means we are talking about the end by 31st March 2023. ठीक है, 25,000 kilometers of national highways will be built. This is the target to be achieved. ये target है जो achieve करना है. Okay, now that is about this 25,000 national highways plan. Okay, now when we talk about the logistics means, of course, we are talking about the same transportation and all, transportation, storage, etc. So there will be through PPP mode, means public private partnership, with the help of which we will be setting up logistic parks. Public private partnership means both the government and the private company will be together setting up this. Okay, yes. Now let's talk about something about the railways. Guys, everyone whosoever is watching, we are seeing only 58 likes. Everyone please press the like button. जो लोग भी देख रहे हैं, please press the like button and subscribe to our channel. Okay, now let's talk about something called as integration of postal and railway networks. It means, if you have seen, जो डाक आता है ना, post, mail comes from the railways, right? Majority of the post. So if the integration of both the things will be done, then movement of parcel will become easy. जो डाक आता है, मेल आता है, और रेलवे से अगर अच्छे से इंटीग्रेट कर दिया जाएगा तो बेटर होगा. Second thing we are talking about is one station, one product. What is one station, one product? It means that every station or every city has something you can say unique about that, especially the local products. हर शहर में कुछ ना कुछ बहुत अच्छा होता है ना. जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल इन वन सिटी दिस मे बी वेरी फेमस, इन अदर सिटी दिस थिंग, लाइक फॉर एग्जाम्पल अलीगढ़ इज फेमस फॉर लॉक्स, बनारस इज फेमस फॉर साड़ी, है ना. सो एवरी स्टेशन, इन वन स्टेशन वन प्रोडक्ट विल बी प्रोमोटेड. दैट इज द वेरी आइडिया विद द हेल्प ऑफ रेलवेज. ठीक है. देन एक्सटेंडिंग कवरेज अंडर कवच, एक्चुअली स्पेलिंग गलत लिखा गई, इट्स WACH. सो व्हाट इज कवच टेक्नोलॉजी, ये समझना है कि कवच टेक्नोलॉजी क्या होती है. So Kavach technology is a sort of technology to provide safety features for railways. ठीक है. Any chances of getting accidents, God forbid, or any other thing will be very less. So this Kavach technology will be brought, 2000 kilometer of rail network will be brought under this Kavach technology, right? So that is Kavach technology. Then 400 new generation Vande Bharat trains will be started. So I hope you all are aware of Vande Bharat train. It is something like this, and it is famous for its high speed, है ना. आपने देखा होगा ये वंदे भारत एक्सप्रेस कई जगह चलती है ये वाली ट्रेन, है ना. So this will be started in 400 new places. 400 नए जगह और ऐसी ट्रेन्स चलाई जाएगी. This is what the government has promised in this budget. Yes, okay. So जो लोग देख रहे हैं, please press the like button, everyone. Yes. Now let's talk about agriculture and food processing. अब हम लोग चलते हैं एग्रीकल्चर और फूड प्रोसेसिंग की बात कर लेते हैं. सो इट इज टॉकिंग अबाउट प्रोमोटिंग केमिकल फ्री नेचुरल फार्मिंग. ओके, व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट केमिकल फ्री नेचुरल फार्मिंग, मतलब क्या हुआ कि इट शुड बी नेचुरल फार्मिंग इन फर्टिलाइजर शुड बी यूज एज लेस एज पॉसिबल एंड इट शुड बी ऑर्गेनिक, राइट. ठीक है. सो दैट इज द वेरी आइडिया विच इज बीइंग टॉक्ड अबाउट, स्पेशली द रीजन्स नियर टू गंगा रिवर. ठीक है. सो गंगा रिवर के आसपास जो है वो नेचुरल फार्मिंग को बढ़ावा दिया जाए. नाउ अनदर थिंग, इट इज टॉकिंग अबाउट डिजिटल. आई हैव सेड कि everything is being talked about digital etc. ठीक है. So one of the main important thing in digital is Kisan drone. अब बोलोगे सर ये what is Kisan drone? We are talking about farmers drone. So farmer will be using the drone. So it will be something like this. ये जो है ना, ये cotton cultivation है. ठीक है. I am just giving an example. So अगर बहुत mass level पे हो रहा है, it is very difficult to, you can say, use the fertilizers or irrigation or any other thing. Then with the, let's say with the help of these drones, the seeds can be spread, है ना, seed spreading or fertilizer spreading or any other, let's say pesticide spreading, है ना, pesticide वगैरह छिटकने के लिए या seed छिटकने के लिए, the drones can be used at massive level if the farming farmland is very big. ठीक है. Yes. Now let's talk further about another thing that we have discussed again and again in the current affairs also, and that is Ken-Betwa link project is being talked about, and this will be benefiting 9.1 lakh hectares farmland in irrigation technology. Okay, what's that? I hope you all are aware that this is Ganga river and here is Yamuna river, and on Yamuna river you will find Betwa and somewhere here it's Ken river. ठीक है. So both will be interconnected So both will be connected like this. And this region is actually famous, have problem of droughts. Okay, it's a Bundelkhand region and all. So to help get irrigation technology, this linking of canal will be done. Okay. Yes, there are some criticism that it may affect Panna Tiger Reserve, etc. But this is what has been mentioned in the budget. ठीक है, यानी केन रिवर और बेटवा रिवर दोनों जो है वो यमुना की ट्रिब्यूटरी आप देख सकते हो. दिस इज यमुना रिवर and this is Kane river and this is Betwa river, right? Both will be interconnected. Yes. Okay, so that is being talked about. Then if you see the agriculture sector, out of the three sector, that is primary, secondary and tertiary. So I hope you are aware that primary sector is agriculture sector. Even during the lockdown, its performance was good enough. Okay. So the least affected sector because of COVID-19 is agriculture sector. यानी सबसे कम असर जो है लॉकडाउन की वजह से एग्रीकल्चर पे हुआ. द मोस्ट अफेक्टेड इज टर्शियरी सेक्टर और सर्विस सेक्टर. ठीक है. यस, हाँ, बुंदेलखंड चंबल रीजन में इट विल बी बेनिफिशियल दैट दिस थिंग, दिस केन बेटवा लिंक, राइट? ओके. यस. नाउ लेट्स टॉक मूव फर्दर. Yes, we have discussed these things like direct payment of MSPs of 2.37 lakh crore direct payment in minimum support price, chemical free natural farming, digital high tech services. We have talked about Kisan drones etc. Kane Betwa link project. ये सब हम लोगों ने discuss कर लिया. Okay, let's move further. Let's talk about education industry. ठीक है, अब हम लोग चलते हैं एजुकेशन इंडस्ट्री की बात करते हैं. व्हेन यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट एजुकेशन, देयर इज अ प्रपोजल ऑफ 1 class 1 टीवी चैनल प्रोग्राम. ठीक है. सो व्हाट इज 1 class 1 चैनल टीवी प्रोग्राम? दिस इज समथिंग लाइक दिस. ठीक है. हर क्लासरूम में देयर विल बी टीवी, हो सकता है इससे बड़ा टीवी लगाओ. ठीक है. एंड दिस टीवी और डिजिटली द पीपल विल बी टॉट. ठीक है. द स्टूडेंट्स विल बी टॉट विद द हेल्प ऑफ डिजिटल टीवीज और a digital screen will be there. That is the main idea about it. ठीक है, ताकि digital help से पढ़ाया जा सके. दूसरी we are talking about is something called as digital university. So I have told you that we are talking more and more about digital etc. Kane Betwa link is in Madhya Pradesh. Yes. Okay. ठीक है. So what is digital university? So digital university will be perhaps most likely online education type thing. So most likely many things will be online and all. Because of, I hope you all are aware that now it is an era of online education. So most likely digital classes, something similar to this will be there, which you are learning from me at BYJU'S. Yes. Okay. So that is about it. So we have discussed. एक और है, देश stack e-portal will be launched, and this portal will help promote education in the online education. You can say whatever you can say. 1 class 1 TV will be there, etc. and all. ओके, लेट्स टॉक अबाउट हेल्थ सेक्टर. ठीक है, थोड़ा सा हम लोग हेल्थ की बात कर लें. वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट सम इंपॉर्टेंट स्कीम्स लाइक मिशन शक्ति, पीएम पोषण, साक्षम आंगनवाड़ी. सो पीएम पोषण इज रिलेटेड विथ मिड डे मील स्कीम, राइट? दोपहर में 12 बजे खाना मिलता है सरकारी स्कूल में. हैव यू सीन दिस? सो द फूड बीइंग गिवन एट गवर्नमेंट स्कूल समवेयर अराउंड 12 PM or 1 PM. That is so this is in crores. 10234 crores have been outlay has been given in this budget estimate, 2022-2023 budget estimate. Then mission Shakti is there and mission Vatsalya. So mission Vatsalya is related with child empowerment and etc. child care you can say. And mission Shakti is related with self help group among women. Self help group आपने सुना होगा स्कूल डेज में ना. Like for example, the group of women come together, they pool their resources and start a business, है ना? That is called as self-help group. Yes, that is mission Shakti. Now let's talk further about health. So health में national digital health ecosystem will be created. National daily mental health program will be there. अब देखो, everything we need in the time in the era of pandemic, we need everything to be digital. Even the health system should be digital. ऑनलाइन काउंसलिंग, ऑनलाइन वॉट एवर द थिंग कैन बी डन ऑनलाइन, इट इज वेरी बेस्ट, है ना? हर चीज ऑनलाइन कर दी जाए तो बेहतर होगा. नेशनल टेली मेंटल हेल्थ प्रोग्राम. मेंटल हेल्थ इज इंपॉर्टेंट स्पेशली आफ्टर COVID-19. देखो, दिस इज फॉर मेनी रीजंस. पहला reason, when the lockdown happened, people got depressed. Second thing is many people lost their job, many people had problem understanding education, many people lost their near relatives. So when somebody loses near relatives, he has some mental problems, he or she. So this is the thing which must be talked about. इसकी बातें करनी चाहिए mental health की, because yes, after first and second wave, this became a serious issue. So we are talking about national tele mental health. Tele means online, mental health services online. Okay, what's that? मतलब ऐसा कुछ होगा, online mental health counseling. So let's say you are having some mental issues, then with the help of laptop or online or with the help of mobile phones, you can connect with the doctor, mental health doctor, right? And talk to counseling. They will provide you online, I can say, services and all. That is the very idea about it. Okay. Yes, tele mental health is there. Then Mission Shakti and all, we have discussed it. Then let's talk something about Anganwadi also. ठीक है, ये हो गया. We're talking about Anganwadi services. Saksham, ये बताए थे क्या होता है Anganwadi services. I hope you must have seen in the village area. It is a sort of a rural child care center in India. देखो क्या होता है, you must have seen these types of students and all in the village areas. So there is generally a female is the Anganwadi worker. What she do is the children who are from rural areas, very poor children, and from small children. So they are being provided the food, the early childhood care, etc. at Anganwadi centers, right? ठीक है, that is the very idea of Anganwadi. तो थोड़ा बहुत नाम पता होना चाहिए. Just have an idea about this. Okay, now let's talk about, अगर everyone is liking, please press the like button. सबको like button एक बार press कर दो, because I have worked hard, so I like. If you like it, share, and please subscribe to our channel. Channel को subscribe भी कर देना. Now let's talk about another yojana called as Har Ghar Nal Se Jal. It means in English we can say that providing tap water connection to every households. So basically the idea is to provide by this fiscal year, end of fiscal year, 3.8 crore households to be covered. Then let's talk about PM Awas Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. Awas means home in English, in Hindi. So 80 lakh houses to be made in this fiscal year. This is the promise in the budget. So houses, so it's just an example. I have put a photo कि 80 लाख नए हाउसेस बनाए जाएंगे 2022-23 में अंडर पीएम आवास योजना. नाउ अनदर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग दैट वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट इज एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट प्रोग्राम. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है एक्चुअली. लेट मी टॉक समथिंग अबाउट इट. Yes, Puri is the first city to have 100% tap water connection, right? So let's talk about this. देखो, there is something called as aspirational districts, and the concept was started in 2018. 2018 में concept start किया गया था, which covers. So there should be a special focus on more underdeveloped districts of India. जो ज़्यादा गरीब डिस्ट्रिक्ट है उस पर ज़्यादा फोकस किया जाए. That is the idea of aspirational districts. ठीक है. So if you see it carefully, it's 112 actually. So these are some of the areas like which requires, especially we're talking about the Niti Aayog one, है ना. So the areas in these regions are more poor. The districts are more poor. 112 more poor aspirational districts are there. So targeted development needs to be there. यानी कि जो ज़्यादा गरीब ज़िला है उस पर ज़्यादा फोकस किया जाए. यही है एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट प्रोग्राम का आइडिया. ओके ओके, यस. नाउ लेट्स टॉक अबाउट फर्दर. वी हैव डिस्कस्ड इट. दीज थिंग्स वी हैव डिस्कस्ड, है ना. And yes, one more thing, 75 digital banking units will be set up in 75 districts by scheduled commercial bank. यानी जितना भी जो ऑफिशियल बैंक है उसके 75 जिला में 75 डिजिटल बैंकिंग यूनिट्स खोला जाएगा, so that banking can be made more inclusive. The more people from rural areas or poor areas can get banking service. It's 112 right now. Okay, yes, aspirational district. ठीक है. Okay, let's talk something more about ease of doing business. So ease of doing business का मतलब क्या होता है? Business करना आसान हो जाए, right? So and the most important thing is clearance should be done as soon as possible. So the government is talking about expanding the scope of Parivesh portal. What is that? देखो, this is a website of Parivesh. ठीक है. and it says proactive and responsive facilitation by inactive and virtuous environmental single window hub. So this is basically enhance efficiency, transparency and accountability. मतलब ये हुआ, if you are opening a business or an industry, you need permission from Environment Ministry. So you need environment clearance. So if you go to different ministry, different department to get environment clearance, it's very difficult. So you need single window clearance. यानी एक जगह जाओ, सारा जगह environment clearance मिलके आ जाए. This will be helpful in setting up the business or making the idea ease of doing business. So Parivesh portal पता होना चाहिए. Yes, that is the very idea about it. Now the government is talking about e-passports also. So something like this similar will be there, most probably. So the passport will contain your photos, perhaps a very similar sim like nowadays we are having in driving license also. Your fingerprint etc. will be there. So what we call it as e-passports. The idea of e-passport will be there. Now let's talk about productivity enhancement and investment. E-passport वगैरह की बात कर लिए. Let's talk about battery swapping policy. Battery swapping means exchange of battery program. So the old batteries can be now replaced by the new batteries because batteries causes a lot of e-waste generation, है ना. ठीक है, एक पॉलिसी रहेगी जिसमें आप पुरानी बैटरी दे दो, आपको नया बैटरी मिल जाएगा. That is very important because generally what we do is we throw the battery in the dustbin. सीधा कूड़ा में फेंक दिया और वो that causes a lot of problems in the rivers and all. So that is why battery swapping, the exchange of old and new batteries. Yes, you have to pay something, of course. पुराने से नया से free में थोड़ी exchange हो जाएगा. But yes, that is the very idea about it. Yes. Okay. Now let's talk about public investment. So the government is talking about public investment continue to pump private investment. जब लॉकडाउन हुआ, the government expenditure must be higher because the private investment was not very good because lockdown में no single person will be investing much. So that is the idea. Public investment, the government spend will be more. Introduction of digital rupee. Yes, I hope you all are aware that the government is planning to ban any private cryptocurrency. So the digital rupee, like for example, we have these cryptocurrencies. So very similar to this. The RBI will be coming up with digital rupee. ठीक है, Reserve Bank of India इसी तरह का similar digital currency लेके आएंगे. ठीक है, yes. And there will be virtual digital taxes at 30%. So these currencies, on these currencies, whatever the RBI will be coming up with the digital assets and all, you'll have to pay taxes of 30%. ठीक है, and you can go and read more about it in detail. Now let's talk further about green bonds. So bonds is helpful in investment, है ना. ठीक है, investment में bonds की मदद मिलती है. Green bonds means whenever we are investing in any green infrastructure. So if the investment is done in green infrastructure, let's say in planting forest, plants, etc., green buildings, etc. बनाने के लिए, then of course this green bond will be issued which will help raise investment raise करने में मदद मिलेगा. ठीक है, in green infrastructure. Okay, is it clear? Okay, now let's talk about fiscal deficit. I have told you about fiscal deficit. What is the definition of fiscal deficit? So up to 4% of gross state domestic product fiscal deficit for the states is allowed. ठीक है, so generally speaking ideally it should be 3%, but because of COVID-19 the fiscal deficit can be up to 4% of GSDP. We are talking about is gross state domestic product. ठीक है, because we are talking about states. ठीक है. Okay, now let's talk about tax proposals. So tax proposal बहुत सारी बात की गई, especially we are talking about person with disability. So if any person is suffering from disability, he will get tax exemption, tax benefit, etc. And virtual tax 30%. We have discussed these things, है ना. So GST collection was something like this. You can see it went down in first wave and in second wave also. So it was something like this. I have told you we are talking about slightly very similar to W, है ना. You can say distorted W type. So the class is not over, just a small announcement. We are having a CLAT 2023 foundation batch. If you are interested in attempting this, which is going to happen December this year, I would suggest to join this batch. You can call on this number. And this is an MHCT, ALAT, SLAT, BLAT, JAMI LLB batch. I'm also teaching here. If you are interested, you can join this batch. This you can call on this number. अभी class खत्म नहीं हुई. The class is not over. This is for 2022 MSCT, LAT, SLAT, BLAT, JAMI, LLB. Okay. Now let's talk about rupee comes from where. यानी पैसा इंडिया में taxes कहाँ से आता है? So the majority it comes from borrowing and other liabilities. So majority 35% comes from the loan we take. Then we talk about 16% comes from GST, the second one. Then you can say the third one comes from income tax and corporation tax, 15%. And then you're talking about the excise duty and then non-tax revenue, then net, you can say net debt, capital receipt, etc. So सबसे ज़्यादा जो आता है borrowing से आता है, फिर GST से आता है, फिर corporate tax and income tax से आता है. This is how the rupee in India comes. And rupee in India goes, कहाँ खर्चा होता है? Wherever we spend, so the first thing we spend is interest payment. Interest payment मतलब जो हम लोग कर्ज वापस चुका रहे हैं. So we give 20% almost there. Then 17% to shares of taxes and duties of state. In a state में central government दे देती है taxes का share. Then central sector schemes जो होती है, जो government of India की central government की scheme होती है, 15% we give there. Then finance commission and other transfer 10%. And then rest you can see others etc. ठीक है? Okay, now let's move on further. These are some of the allocation of major schemes. तो ये आप पढ़ सकते हो. You can read by your own. National Health Mission में इतना दिया गया. जल जीवन मिशन में this much has been given. Then National Education Mission में this much has been given. These all are in crores. Of course, PM Kisan में this is the expenditure in this budgetary estimate. Okay. And आत्मनिर्भर भारत योजना में 6400 करोड़. प्रधानमंत्री स्वास्थ्य सुरक्षा योजना में 10,000 करोड़ etc. Okay. Now let's talk about deficit. मैंने बता दिया, but let me show it again. So fiscal deficit will be 6.4% in the ending of next fiscal year. और this fiscal year में 2021-22 which is going to end in 31st March, it will be 6.9% fiscal deficit. And next fiscal year जो end होगा by that 6.4% of GDP. So it's talking about percentage of GDP. ठीक है, GDP के percent के हिसाब से. Yes, some more thing about it. So artificial intelligence, drones will be used. Semiconductor technologies will be used etc. At large scale level. तो ये सब मैंने डिस्कस कराया कई बार. Drones, semiconductor technologies will be set up. Then digital university we have discussed about it. Some of the tax proposal, जैसे कि if you have some issues in filing the tax return, then within 2 years the government has given 2 years time to correct your mistakes, है ना? That is about this. Then yes, इसमें कुछ खास नहीं है. These things we have discussed it. Yes, for MSME, that is small level of industries, micro, small, medium enterprise, small level of industries. These are the steps that have been taken. So इसके बारे में पढ़िएगा. E-Shram, NCS, Asim portals. These are the websites. All these websites will be helpful in MSME technology, MSME growth. So all these will be interlinked. Okay. Yes. PM गति शक्ति मास्टर प्लान में क्या क्या होगा? So all these things I have discussed about 7 things. मैंने बताया भी शुरू में 7 growth engines. तो इसमें से होगा roads, ठीक है, railways, ठीक है, airports. So this is airports, ports, mass transport, water transport, etc. These things, these all 7 comprises of PM gati shakti yojana. Okay. Productivity linked incentive scheme in 14 sector. This is important. Go and read about it. Yani your can say business will be linked, or you can say the government will provide you incentive according to your production. Okay, that is productivity linked incentive scheme. ये भी this is also one of the initiative in this. ठीक है, इसको पढ़ लीजिएगा जाके. We are having a crash course for CLAT 2022. You can join it. Call on this number or mail us at support@BYJU'S Exam Prep. And if you are preparing for CLAT 2022, we are having legal affairs and current events booster course. Call on this number or mail us at support@BYJU'S Exam Prep. So what are the benefits? You will be taught legal affairs and current events, expert guidance by NLU alumni, progressive assessment test, doubt clearing sessions will be there. So this is all about today's class. Everyone please press the like button, share the video and subscribe to our channel. So thank you everyone. Thank you for watching. Tomorrow most likely at 7 PM I will be coming up with the questions on budget. ठीक है, so 20 से 25 क्वेश्चन पूछूंगा मैं बजट से रिलेटेड. प्लीज डू ज्वाइन इट बिकॉज दैट विल बी अ रिवीजन फॉर यू. ठीक है, so thank you everyone. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.